Do you need me to say my name? Think you're good? All right, awesome. Okay, so this afternoon I'd like to give more details about the officer-involved shooting, which occurred on Wednesday, May 7th, around 12:40 a.m. in the 800 block of East Breaker Lane. I want to stress this investigation is ongoing, but it is important for us to get out in front and talk to you as soon as possible in all transparency, and that's what we're doing. So in the spirit of the changes that we wanted to make, here we are a few days later. This is an unfortunate incident. I think it's important to note that there is not a cop, certainly in this APD, that comes to work wanting to be involved in an officer-involved shooting, and that's the truth. And so, but what they do know is every day they show up, there's a potential for that. This is a dangerous job. It is an often not pretty job, but they show up every single day. And so we're going to get into that and what this looks like. But again, it is a tragedy. Never want to see anyone hurt, and certainly our officers don't want that as well. I'd also like to thank our public safety partners, Austin Travis County EMS and the Austin Fire Department. We do not do this alone. As you see this, EMS was on scene very quickly here, and it is important to tell them how much we appreciate them and their efforts as well. All right, again, this incident took place in the 800 block of East Breaker Lane. We'll go ahead and show a map of that area. All right, you can see right 35 and East Breaker Lane there. And now you will hear audio from the radio traffic.
Traffic. Robert. Breaker 35. Sure, turn north now.
I need to find out any level.
Bear me a 6 and put me 22.
Oh, shot fire, shot fire. Shot fire.
MG303, shots taken, suspect is down.
Okay.
All right, Star or State EMS, we're going to need more units to close off Breaker eastbound.
All right, now we're going to see body-worn camera from Officer Pitcher.
Breaker 35. Sure, turn north now.
What's going on? Officer Pitcher, Officer Police Department. Reason for the stop, so you use your turn signal when you made the right in here.
Okay, so now.
Do you have your ID on you?
Okay, he notices there's a child in the back at that point. You can hear the other officer asking him to step out of the car, and Officer Pitcher goes around. Okay, at this point he pulls away. You can see his hand on his right side.
Hey, look, shot fire, shot fire.
Oh my God. Nice.
All right, Star or State EMS, we're going to need more units to close off Breaker eastbound.
Hey, man, where's the gun at? Clean it. Let me see your hands. You're reaching. Yes, you are. Do me a favor, man, okay? Line of fires towards Michi Lobos.
All right.
From the
We're
service
gonna
road,
get you help.
we're in the Chevron parking lot on the east side driveway.
Hey, do me a favor, bro. All right. Hey, crawl to your left.
At this point, they don't know if the gun is in his hand, where the gun is.
We only see one hand. Leave the guns on
Do you hear the
right
woman, the
side.
front driver passenger, tells the officers to be careful?
He cannot move, cannot see his left hands. For 43. Do you have anything on you?
No, I don't.
No, you're gonna stay there. Hey, I'm just gonna come back here because she's in the line of fire and she has a kid.
Okay, so he's concerned at this point, not knowing, again, where this gun is. They're potentially in the line of fire as well.
Hey, Kirchberg, I'm gonna have her and her kid move back. Hey, just move to my car. Move to my car.
At this point, other officers have arrived and they're moving in.
Close the door. Do not reach for the gun.
Let me see your head.
It was right waistband. It's on the hip grab.
He says it's under me.
Roll over in your stomach. Roll over in your stomach. Hey.
Put your hands behind. Where's the gun?
Jack, let's go.
No, I cannot. Where's the gun at you? Keep your arms. No, you can't reach like that.
No, I'm not
Hey, give me his other hand.
Can I drink the water, please? You don't got a hand over me, I'm not doing it wrong.
Where's the gun?
I threw it.
Get the gun.
It's right here.
Right here. Gun. Watch
We
out.
find the gun in multiple magazines.
It's right here.
She has a back in my car. She has a kid. Back in the Tahoe. She has a kid.
All right, now we're going to slow the video down. So this is the point when he's asked to step out of the car, and the officer advises, do you mind, I'm going to pat you down to make sure you don't have a gun or any weapons. And as soon as this is said, he takes off, pulls away. You can see his hands on his right side. He blades. At that point, he has stopped running. He has decided to engage with the officers. You can also tell that one of the officers had a taser, had less lethal. The other officer did not pull and come out of his holster until the subject started to draw his weapon. These are some still shots here. Here's his hand on the gun. This is when he first starts to pull away. Here's where he decides to go into a stance. Again, at that point, he has stopped running and he is willing to engage. And you can see the officer about to bring his gun out of his holster. This here in the circle, you can't really see it. That's the gun is there. Again, in his right-hand side, right where he was reaching for it. Once again, them pulling the gun out. And here's the gun that they removed from his waistband, and about 3 magazines that are on the ground. Okay. So again, on May 7th, on 2025 this year, at approximately 12:40 a.m., we responded. Officers Rain, is it Rain? Is that how you pronounce it? Rain Kirchberg and Officer Jake Pitcher conducted a traffic stop in the 800 block of East Breaker Lane. The traffic stop was conducted due to the driver failing again to use the turn signal. Officer Kirchberg asked the passenger male, later identified as Branson Bareilles, to step out of the vehicle, and he stated he did not have identification. Mr. Bareilles stepped out of the vehicle, and as Officer Kirchberg attempted to pat him down, he pushed through the officer and began to evade on foot. When Officer Kirchberg reached for him, he turned, pulled away, and began reaching towards his right hip area of his waistband. Next, he turned sideways in a defensive or bladed stance and attempted to retrieve a firearm from his waistband. Officer Kirchberg and Officer Pitcher both fired shots and struck Mr. Bareilles. The officers approached Mr. Bareilles to safely restrain him and begin life-saving measures. And I would like to say this department and what they do to save lives here, cutting his clothes off, packing wounds, starting all of that before EMS arrived on scene. We've seen this in other areas, not just where officers involved in shootings, but when officers arrive on traffic injuries or shootings, stabbings that we respond to, they are always doing life-saving measures, and I think that's important to note. It's very impressive to me coming from outside the city. Mr. Bareilles was transported to the hospital where he is currently, I believe, in critical condition at this time. This is Mr. Bareilles. He's 26 years old. You can go on to the next slide. This is Mr. Bareilles' history. He is known to law enforcement, and it is currently worth noting that he has 2 felony warrants, one out of Kimball County and one out of Llano. Again, I do want to say that as you watch this, I think the officers did a fantastic job. They reacted quickly. They were calm on the radio. Again, keeping in mind to do a traffic stop with a woman and a small child in the car, to ask a man to step out of the car who has a weapon, pulls away. We don't know what is going on inside that car at that time. And for him to, again, pull away, he stopped running and he bladed. He was ready to engage with the officers. So again, it is a very tragic situation, but I think the officers acted bravely, and they acted, again, you have a woman and a small child being considerate of where this gun is going. You know, at that point when he's down, they don't know if the weapon's in his hand at that point, where it is. Still being concerned for her and where this, if he does decide to fire shots, where they might lead. So at that point, we'll open up to a couple of questions if anyone has anything.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
my question is, what was the initial reasoning for asking him to step out of the car? Did they see the weapon? Did they know about his outstanding felony warrants?
Yeah, that's normal to ask when someone doesn't have identification at that point. You're going to ask them to step out of the car. That does happen. That's a normal, part of an investigation, to have them step out of the car to make sure they don't have any weapons. It's absolutely normal.
Okay. Also, can you confirm how many shots were exchanged?
You know what? I cannot confirm that right now. Again, I think it's important that we get out of here and be as accountable, but I think it's important for you guys to know that we're not going to have everything. I don't have the number of shots fired at this point. We do know he's in critical condition at the hospital, but I don't know the number of shots at this time.
Do you know the relationship between him and the woman and the kid?
I know that was not his child, and I don't know what the relationship was, but or how well they knew each other. I don't know that.
Was the driver and the child, were they being held against their will? I thought I heard the woman tell the officer to be careful.
She did tell the officer to be careful. So I don't know again what their relationship was, but that we were not told after the fact that she was being held against her will. But again, when you're coming up to a scene like that, you don't know what's going on, right? So anything else?
Where do we go from here?
At this point, Anna, it's
The officers on administrative
yes.
leave.
Administrative leave, which is protocol that they're on administrative leave. The DA has this, and at this point, as far as charges against him, we'll be conferring with the DA's office, and we'll go from there.
You did mention one of the officers pulled out their taser, one of them pulled out their firearm.
Right.
You kind of made sure to mention that.
Yes.
Is that also protocol to have like 2 different measures of?
Well, this is the thing. The way we use force, you don't want to, if someone's bringing a gun, you do not want to bring a taser to a gun, right? And this is the reality. You bring a gun or you point a gun at an officer, a gun will be, that's on par, right? So I think it's important at that point, there was no gun or weapon shown. So that officer having his taser out was totally appropriate. Once he reached for his waistband on that right side and the officer saw that and he started blading, the officer then came up with his own weapon. And fired. So I think it's absolutely appropriate to have that less lethal, because at that point you don't know where this is leading. But once that decision was made for him to engage, the other officer was right on point as well.
Did he fire? I was sure he said that. Did he fire his weapon at all, or was just the officer firing the weapon?
He did not fire his weapon. No, not that we know of at this time.
One last question.
Just to make it clear, the officers, you said how many times did he get shot? Do we know?
We do not know that at this point.
Okay. And the officer that shot him, how long has he been on the force here?
Do we know the?
All of it's in the press release, but when One of the officers has been, I'm sorry, let me just.
It's okay.
1 year and 7 months. Pitcher has been with the department for 1 year and 7 months, and Kirkberg has been with the department for 4 years and 6 months.
Thank you.
Yeah, so relatively young officers for sure. Any other questions?
Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
Thanks, guys, for coming out on a Saturday. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.